Mark After Dark podcast contains adult content. Listener discretion is strongly advised. If you're under the age of 18, please exit this podcast now. Adult themes and content are contained in this podcast. You've been warned.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
One of the things y'all are going to start beginning to see, you're already beginning to see it now, is all the releases of UFO sightings that have been held from us. You're going to see this a lot on Twitter now that it's been wide opened up for the most part. You're seeing it. I'm seeing it on Telegram. So many extraterrestrial UFO sightings that have been held from the public.
Yo, it sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck. Everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep. Don't give a fuck. Can't stop. Unplug. Feeling overwhelmed. I think I've had enough.
Well, welcome back to Mark After Dark. It's not your typical podcast, but I did something that I originally didn't plan on doing, and I brought back from the first episode. Mr. Brad Bishop, welcome back.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing good, man. You got me going with the reptilians, and the video did pretty good, and the trailer did good as far as views and people looking at it, and it seemed like a topic, that people were interested in, this extraterrestrial, the truths that are hidden and lying right there in front of us. And you had mentioned about the Pleadians last time, which, we talked more about the dark side or the evil when we were talking about the reptilians. And you mentioned the Pleadians, which are the light or the good. And I did have a chance to do tiny bits of research about them. And it's awesome, interesting stuff. The constellation of their origin. They were called Nordics also, if I'm not mistaken. Because of their appearance, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, light skin complexion. It just, man, there's so much that I just barely even got to touch on thus far that I'm so glad that you're here to tell us. Who are the Pleadians, Brad?
The Palladian starseed it's a human born on Earth, but with an elevated soul sent from Palladius. Now, all starseeds are beautiful. They're kind. They're aware, which opens up more options for them spiritually and consciously. We know of at least a few dozen kinds of starseeds with various, otherworldly origins. So pretty much earthly Palladians, they're called starseeds. Everybody that is a starseed has their own growth process, their own timing of when they learn who they really are. Everybody's growing just like you are as you venture into this astral being, since you're finally realizing, Mark, that you are an astral being. So the Palladians, the starseeds, they have very imaginative souls. You have a very imaginative soul. I have a very imaginative soul, and that originates in the fifth dimension and reincarnated on Earth to advance. They're here, they're reincarnated to advance mankind toward the golden age of transformation. But in order to do that, you have to wake the people. A lot of people in politics these days, that when they're still stuck in 3D and worried about politics of Republicans and Democrats, that they're on their way to learning that they've wasted a whole lot of time. But it's part of their growth in order for them to step above and realize, and this is part of the growth of what you would call a starseed. And a lot of these people are very advanced. They have higher knowledge and limitless potential. All of us do. We are just unbelievable, powerful machines that were built to do way more. than what we've been dumbed down to be.
Well, yeah, man. It's like if we're using 10% of our brain, let's compare that to like a cylinders in an engine, right? So you've got, let's say you had a 100-cylinder engine and only 90 or 10 of those cylinders are firing, man. What about those 90 cylinders, if they were going, what would this be like?
Yeah, for an exactly. I'm gonna share with you and step you out of the box from 3D to 4D right now. Here's how I'm gonna do it. Right now in 3D, we're making this podcast, we're talking, everyone's listening. But if you really knew that a Palladian light worker is someone who actively joins the mission to lead mankind toward the fifth dimension consciousness and enlightenment by performing positive deeds, you are actually doing a podcast right now on a Palladian light worker starseed. Now, of all the things in the entire earth, Mark, you are doing a podcast tonight about light worker and starseeds. This is part of your journey in action right now in 4D, stepping you out of the third dimension. So, welcome. Merry Christmas, brother.
Yeah, man. How was your Christmas, speaking of which?
It was great, bro. It was very good. Christmas is, I love the joy and the light of the Holy Spirit during around that time.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. People, for the most part, I did notice, man, and I had to pray and send out all the blessings I could, because I did notice, man, just across social media, so many people despaired over this holiday season. And and I think a lot of that has to do with our programming and our conditioning and the propaganda and the expectation of Christmas, as it were, and as it pertains to what we have created it to become, the consumer's holiday, the time of the year when these retail businesses prosper because everybody's got to keep up with the Joneses and beat this present and that present. Oh, if we don't get little Johnny his brand new, iPad Air 65 or whatever the case may be, then, wow, we're terrible parents, and all of his friends are going to make fun of him because he has the old one, and oh my God, and I'm going to go to this Christmas party. Well, crap, now I got to get old Betty something because I'm going to her Christmas party. All of that, man, is where we lost what Christmas was about.
Well, it's unfortunate. And when you are, I'm going to just say this, when you are in the matrix of everything you've been taught, which has been a lie, these are all the emotions, the anxiety, the depression, everything that comes along with being caught up in this holographic system that we call life. And, by all means, I'm human. We're all human. We get caught up in it no matter what, because we are here on Earth in this place. But at the same time, if people would have focused more on God during Christmas or their higher power, they probably would have had a lot more peace
and joy and happiness.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
it's a shame, dude. It really, it's like, I watch, even members of my own family that they put so much emphasis into their gifts and they love giving, and I love that part of them, but it's almost like, for me, it's gotten to the point at this age and where I'm at in my journey in life, I don't care about a gift. Give me the gift of your time, please. The memory of that I can carry with me. I can't take all these material things with me when I leave.
Exactly. You're growing. You're growing.
It's just, it's not, none of it really ultimately is worth it. even the stress of bills, all of it. It's all part of the design to trap you and make you feel. I mean, I'm more or less convinced that we are in hell.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that you belong to this world or another world?
I do not believe that I belong to this world.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, I've never felt that way. Never in my life that I feel like that I was, you know.
I ask your guests as well. I want your
earth, you know.
The guests that are listening to this podcast right now, do you feel that you belong to this earth?
Now, I knew what you meant by belong. Please pontificate upon that so that the listener that might not have been, well, what do you mean belong?
Well, let me help you understand the simplicity of who we really are. We are all connected. You know, let me ask you this. If anyone out there in the stratosphere feels the intense longing for a greater purpose, if you have some restlessness of the soul, if you do have a sense of not belonging in this world that you're in right now, like you come from a higher place, you come from a different place, do you feel like your life is a test? If you have a deep desire to do good and you have a drive and commitment toward bettering our world, these are all the signs that you are here at this point in time in this life, in this world, as a starseed and as a Palladian. Merry Christmas, everybody. You are a higher being that's been given the name human, born on earth, but you are much greater. So the quest is kind of like the story you're telling right now about Christmas. You just want the time. You don't want the gift. It's the same. It's all the same. It's the same thing. You are learning very much. And I'm here to share with people in this episode that we are here for a higher purpose than to go to work, pay taxes, and die.
I believe that strongly and wholeheartedly. I've had people throughout my life, ask me, hey, man, you were like super smart in school and everything like that. Why don't you go get you a doctorate or something like that? And I was like, I didn't want to be a slave. I didn't. Yeah. I never wanted to be a slave, man. I mean, I worked in the trenches with you. You and I saw timeshare together. I was a slave.
Yeah.
I hated that part of it. I loved a lot of things about it. It was an exciting job. I worked with the coolest people in the world. I wouldn't have met you if I wouldn't have done it, but man, dude, every weekend, every holiday, rain, sleet, snow, or hail, it's just like the car business, only worse. Welcome to timeshare. I think the reptilians created that business.
Well, you either save some marriages or cause some divorces. I don't know which ones that it all adds up to be. But
right? No, for real, man. I mean, well, you know what else causes divorces is another thing that I dabble in and do is the music industry, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a lot of darkness in that industry too.
Well, here's what you need to understand. All of these are striving musicians wanting to sign their name on the dotted line and become the next Keith Urban, become the next
Morgan Wallen, your favorite.
Morgan Wallen. Once you don't become rich and famous just because you were good. You become rich and famous because you signed your name on the dotted line to a puppet, a master, and you're the puppet. And you're going to do what these people tell you to do. And I don't know of any other kind of slavery. We all are already slaves to the banking system. I don't know how much more slavery we want to add on top of the slavery. But you know what? They say that it's good to be a rich, famous rock star. But I tell you what, more powerful. A lot of people got beautiful music out there. A lot of people need to get it out. There's definitely raw talent, but the unfortunate thing that musicians have going against them is instead of these high record companies searching for the next talent, they're just literally creating it like in a lab.
Well, so, you're right. You know what they're doing, man? They're signing so many artists. I mean, even, I don't mean just right now, like right now, but they've been really since right before the pandemic, signing tons of artists that think that they've made it. And they're holding all of their art, their music, their creation, everything that was in them that they put out there. They're holding it hostage, man. If it doesn't sell, they don't own the rights anymore. They're fucked.
Hey, I tell you what. Well, thank gosh I just play my guitar and make my originals in my home and enjoy them just like I would.
Keep it independent, Brad, and support independent. That's the best thing you can do right now for the music industry, because from radio to television to record labels, to all of it, they're all in bed together. They've been all ass raping the people that have made them the money, which are the creators, the creatives. They've been using and abusing them, and that really, if you want to look at it, is kind of a form of slavery in itself.
Well, you say using and abusing, you say ass raping, you say this sounds like all the things they do literally in the ritual, the Freemason, satanic rituals that they literally do in Hollywood across the whole entire board, whether you're an actor or
right in front of our faces too, and we allow it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to become really rich and famous unless you take a couple pee-pees in the butt. But and that's in a physical sense, and it's a very unfortunate truth to tell. But in the modern age of monarch programming, on you selling your soul, it's you got to pay to play. It's a long road if you want to rock.
Yeah, you're right, man. So how does what we just talked about for the last 4 minutes, how does that tie in with the Pleadians and what they bring to this conversation?
Well, a lot of people have to go through that unfortunate life lesson to learn what their real purpose really was. And that's the moral of that 4 minutes. People can hit the road, their talent and what they bring to the table is one thing. But when you decide to try and make it as some famous person, which is what that's why you are then losing yourself when wanting to become a famous person. Unless you have, this journey is really, really unbelievable. Let's bring this back to the Pleadians and Starseeds. Pleadians and Starseeds are very creative. They are of love. Starseeds aren't some kind of alien force that fights the reptilians. These guys are the freaking true rock stars that we don't even know about because they've burned our history. So what we see and what we are, this is all information being gathered by billions of starseeds that are on this earth right now for us to even have this information to spread out and it be still new, where people are like, what in the hell are they talking about? So I don't think there's any vanity when it comes to the love and Pleadians, because the day you sell your soul, the day you realize, the day you just didn't really love yourself, if you just chose to become a slave for money,
Well, and I, like, in some of the stuff that I was briefly skimming and reading, I saw a lot about Pleadians came here to save us. Because
Yes.
there were other species, races, whatever, however this all breaks down, kingdom, phylum, whatever it is, of beings or astral beings that have been here that had malintentions and were going to wipe out the quote unquote human race or experiment, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it's good that you've even checked that out. Pleadians that are out there are the ones that are speaking up for what is right in this country. These are different types of star seeds. Everyone's on their own level. Everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's on their own, when I say level of learning. Kind of like I know a little bit more about this than you, but you know about this, but you don't know about it fully. So
right.
Everyone has their own level. But, whenever you have these Pleadians, it's such a long history. They've been here for so long. And they're humans. They have, just like I've talked about, we're hosts. Whether it be you being a reptilian and being possessed by the demonic side, or you are of love and creativity and speaking and all, those are totally two different entities. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're a Pleadian, because there's a lot more in this atmosphere, this galaxy. It's not just Pleadians that are the good ones. And it's just not the reptilians that are the bad ones. You got the Dracos. The Dracos are even as bad, if not worse, than the gosh darn reptilians.
Here comes episode 3, y'all.
So
here you go. You mentioned another one. We got to study that one too. I might as well just make season 1 all about astral beings.
I have to say something to your audience. I do not take drugs. I am a very level-headed person. Conspiracy theorist is a compliment word for me, because a conspiracy theorist is simply just someone who knows the truth before you do. And that's okay. Actually, the CIA deemed us a conspiracy theorist because we were telling the truth, and the CIA didn't want it to get out. So they came out with the flaky word conspiracy theorist to kind of, make us...
Well, I mean, just like, and we talked about this one too, and jokingly, all the new pronouns, and no disrespect to anybody out there listening, but all the new pronouns and the 72 new genders, and it's just like they're making this stuff up, man.
It's like they all came in on an airplane with Obama flying it. Like, our world didn't become so crazy until 9/11 happened, and then all of a sudden Obama flew in on an airplane with his transgender storybook tellers and all this other insane crazy where everything is flipped.
But fair enough, but you cannot just blame Obama, because this shit's been snowballing for thousands of years.
I don't just blame Obama. Oh, hell no. But I tell you what, we were all a lot more asleep.
Oh, yeah. Well, but that's part of the thing, man. It's the awakening right now. And the Pleadians are being awakened.
Well, yeah, or just human beings in general are being awakened. And, the Pleadians, I'll give you a good example here. I'll say this. The Pleadians will land along with other benevolent extraterrestrials after the major changes have occurred on Earth. Those changes being what need to be what we're going through right now. The kitchen sink is being thrown at us. It's god darn hell on earth kind of situation where everything is just not what it used to be. So right now, this war that you cannot see with your eyes, it's also what Trump said. I believe this or not, I'll inject 3D politics into this. I really believe that Trump is a light worker.
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I can see why they feel that way, and I can't disagree with that statement.
Well, look how many people are waking up ever since he became
even from the opposing side, surprisingly.
Yeah, and I've never seen anything like it, Mark. You can love Trump or hate Trump, but the one thing I have learned is I've never seen a human being influence and open the eyes by showing them the corruption that even with him not being the president right now, all the way to Sleepy Joe doing what he's doing now, everything, there's just more people that are becoming awake. My dad was very unawake, and when he came to visit for Christmas, he was sitting on the couch and he looked at me. He goes, I can't even watch the news anymore, Brad. I can't even watch the news. It's like a goddamn circus show. It just blows my mind how everything is so out of place. And to hear that showed me that was the beginning of my father waking. So, but I've just never seen a great awakening of a movement under one man.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Pleadians right now, and a lot of trending. If you do your DuckDuckGo, Bing, Google, whatever you use to do your search engine, check it out, man. Even on Google, there's quite a bit of information. It hadn't been knocked off. It's not completely censored. I'm sure there's deeper and better information out there, as we all know. The good stuff's probably, the real good stuff is probably nowhere to be found. It's somewhere, but we're not going to see it or read it or have access to it.
I recommend people get on Telegram and try and find some of these channels to be able to join and be a part of. John F. Kennedy Jr., things like that, Sarah Just Sarah, everything, look up, get yourself in a group. There's so much distribution of information on Telegram that it will blow your minds. Everything from reptilians to Pleadians to everything. And it's suppressed information. Now, I have to say that there's disinformation as well.
Well, yeah, and that is kind of a problem, and that's why I'm trying to bring guests in that have a little bit of knowledge and experience in the topics that they're talking about on this podcast series that I'm going to be doing. Because of that, I don't want there to be misinformation. An open topic conversation, cool. But if you come in and act like an authority and you don't have the backing experience or the research to back it, I'm not gonna be able to, to go through the podcast without disagreeing. I mean, I'm gonna let you know, hey, I don't think you're right. I don't think you know enough about this to qualify yourself as an expert. You might know more than I know or more than somebody else listening in the audience, but let's not do that. That's the worst thing we can do, is knowingly spread misinformation.
One of the things y'all are going to start beginning to see, you're already beginning to see it now, is all the releases of UFO sightings that have been held from us. You're going to see this a lot on Twitter now that it's been wide opened up for the most part. You're seeing it. I'm seeing it on Telegram. So many extraterrestrial UFO sightings that have been held from the public.
Yep.
Now, I want to share something that will probably be something to think about as we talk about this subject right now, because it's building. The frequency is building. The energy is building. People of the earth, I want to say to the people of the earth, do not despair. Help will be there when you need it. And you can connect that to faith. You can connect that to faith in God, however way, but understand that we are cosmic extraterrestrial beings. Now, all you have to do for now is keep your body frequency to one of love. You see a poor man, my woman the other day, last night, made a man cry. He had a beard. He was sitting outside of a gas station. She just went up there to grab something. The only cash she had on her was $4. She looked at him and she told him, I want to tell you that God said that he loves you. And the homeless guy, after she gave him $4. And this was a guy that wasn't on drugs. He lost his wife. He lost his home. He wasn't just some bum. He was a good person. They say that, and it's a truth, that be careful with how you treat people, because you could be entertaining God and his angels.
That's very true.
You know, and when she did that for that gentleman last night, my woman is a Pleadian. She is a woman of love, a woman of giving, of nurturing, of actually healing. Women are the most strongest species of the earth, way more advanced than men, and that's a fact.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, man. I'm complicated, but I'm not that complicated.
Yeah, but they can multitask with style and grace.
Exactly, and we cannot do that shit. Not with style and grace. I mean, we can fake it a little bit, but ultimately we're going to slip on that banana peel. It happens every time.
I'm just trying to give them love. We got to love the ladies. But that being said, I want to repeat what I was about to say. All you have to do for now is keep your body frequency to one of love. So you can, what this does, it can ascend you to the actual fifth dimension by year 22. Now, I'm reading this from something that I have, and it specifies the year 2022. And right now, me and you are talking about this. So there is something much greater happening right now in the world. A lot of people are beginning to ascend. They're beginning to wake up. This is part of the Great Awakening. And it's also time for us to learn something that we have not learned before because it was hidden from all of us. So once again, all you have to do now is keep your body frequency one of love so you can ascend to the fifth dimension by year 22. You will then become part of the new civilization of light. Humus Spiritus. It's on a planet of light. So it says, see you all at the cosmic party in the years of 2022 through 2032. Whatever that freaking means is something. And we can take from that whatever we want to.
Where did you find this stuff at?
I am right now on ascendinginlight.com.
Okay.
I recommend people check this page out. It's pretty darn cool.
We'll have to put a link to it, on the YouTube side. We can do that. On the podcast side, they frown upon links. So, but on the YouTube, if you go to the YouTube channel, either Zero Brad or go to Sebby Music Group, if you go to either one of those YouTube channels, you'll have a copy of this podcast that you can watch and view and all that good stuff. And in the description, we'll make sure we put some links. So when you're hearing this, I've got a couple links from the stuff that I studied on that I want to include too. That were insightful for me for quick reads. And we all know that sometimes we just don't have the time. Brad and I had a discussion about this. I'm like, man, my eyes have been open. I haven't had time to do my research, to dive in, to read, to study. I mean, I've been so distracted,
And that is part of the slavery system that they have from you to start to begin your ascending process out of the matrix that you have been called in, that does exactly what you just said right out of your mouth. It goes along with the dimming down process. It goes all the way down to the fluoride in the water, to the monarch programming of television. to everything being fed on mainstream news. Everything is to keep your frequency low from you having even the time and attention. And they're not just doing it to you. They've done it to me. They're doing it to everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, nobody's immune from this.
And this is where you begin, Mark, because now that we have this conversation, and many others will connect with this, and many others will, hopefully it'll make sense for them, is once you can step yourself out of 3D, which is the life that you live, your routine, everything that's been your existence, when you can step yourself out of that box in the 4D and look down on your life and the programming and what you believe and what you were taught, and believe me, everything you have been taught is a lie. Ladies and gentlemen in this galaxy out there, everybody, it has been a lie. It's what they have wanted you to be taught. It's to make you docile. It's to make you non-intelligent. It's to make you less powerful. And the purpose of these, whether it was talking about the dark force of the reptilians or the light force of the Pleadians, is to help people understand that you are a human being, or been called one. You live on an earth in a galaxy. You are an astral being. You are. So to talk about astral beings should be a lot more comfortable for people. It should be a comfort. It shouldn't be a conspiracy theory. It shouldn't be a joke, or they don't exist. For anybody who says that UFOs do not exist, but they are an astral being living on the earth, that person will probably, hopefully, reach where I'm talking about, maybe in their next life or the life after that one. So I say this to share that if you ever want to know if you are a Pleadian or you're not, remember, if your heart is good and all you want is love and prosperity and good, these, and you will speak for what is right, you have the DNA of the Pleadian astral being. As a matter of fact, we're the DNA of a couple of them. Because your mom and dad, who knows what part galaxy, starseed, or what DNA they chose when they made these suits for us to walk around and learn this test. It's just something greater to think about outside of y'all's programming.
Yeah, no, definitely. Great points there. Do you have any specific sources or places that you recommend people go to learn more about Pleadians?
I say that you're going to need to do just a little bit more. Take some time, focus on the Pleadian as a subject, and then put in Pleadians into your search engine, and just begin to understand their dynamic. Just like you.
Yeah, you want to just get your feet wet. You don't want to go crazy with it.
All we're doing right now is, Mark, we're opening the door. I don't claim to know everything because I am still learning in this whole journey. But
you know what, man? I think until I leave this third dimension, I'm going to continue to learn. So I'm never going to claim to be an expert on anything because I learn something new every day about everything in my life.
We don't stop learning until we're dead, even when we're on our deathbed, as our life plays in front of us. I mean, can you imagine that moment of what you are thinking about before you know that you're probably not going to make it?
Yeah. We
are consistently learning until we transcend out of this realm into the realm that we came from, which the reason why it's hard for us to remember where we came from, because if we did remember, we would take ourselves out.
We wouldn't want to be here.
We wouldn't want to be here.
Yeah. Because where we came from was unimaginable.
Right. So what have we been done? We've been thrusted onto this earth to do good, to be good, to succeed, to learn, and to make the best out of the slavery system. I don't mean to sound like Debbie Downer, but ladies and gentlemen, is there anything special about what's going on in 3D right now? I mean,
not really.
You're a slave to your 30-year mortgage. You're a slave to your car payment. You're a slave to the credit card company because you weren't getting paid enough at work to make sure that all ends were met after buying groceries. And then all of a sudden it starts over the next month and then the next month. And then, I mean, literally, we are in the world and the earth is a special, wonderful place. But we are here to learn amongst astral beings that come from all type of stars and galaxies and that are within this planet.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine, dude. You know, you think about that, and maybe old Star Trek wasn't too far off. You know, you look at that. You look at the evidence that's coming out of the woodworks, man, because the technology has backfired on them. They wanted to use it to spy on us, to control us. And they opened Pandora's box, man. And now there's a video of everything and a recording of everything. And you can't just keep saying, oh, these people are crazy. Not at the numbers and with the technology and the quality. And you know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to everybody, you know, welcome. Welcome to the appetizer. The real appetizer of your life, of your soul, of your spirit, of your consciousness. This is just a little door opening for you to be like, well, just let me check these guys out. Now, remember, they will talk about the Pleadians being a fictional character. Remember, our history has been burned. So you take that for what it is. We all are connected. We are all one. And we are here in this point in time on this earth and this world. We chose to be here at this time. We just do not remember why. Because we were birthed onto the earth. So as long as people can begin to wake up, not in politics, that definitely needs, because that's the physical. But we also, the great awakening is much greater.
Man, you're talking on spiritual level, people need to wake up.
Spiritual, however they need to connect it. Consciously, everybody is way more powerful than what we've been dimmed down to be. And these are just little love crumbs, Mark, to help people begin to think and step out of the box and really learn who they are. Nobody really knows who they really are.
Yeah, once you think you start figuring out who you are, then you surprise your own self and teach yourself you don't know shit.
That's why everybody got so excited about the DNA testing, and they'd come back and give you everything of what was in your DNA. And then you could be like, oh, I'm 69% British. Well, fuck, you just gave your whole entire DNA to the goddamn government or whoever you gave it to, who could sell it off to some... Look, this is just one big hellhole that that we are here to learn the most unbelievable thing of all, and that God is within inside of us. We are the ones that make ourselves happy. Nothing else. Money, people. You can't depend. Don't ever depend on a person to make you happy. But there's a lot of people that are there that do that. They have a lot of growing to do.
I've been there before. I've depended on a significant other or whatever instead of doing the right thing. Yeah, man, it is part of the learning process. That's for damn sure.
Growing pains. Remember when we were young, we'd get them growing pains in our leg?
I'm getting them now. I'm growing old.
Mark, don't say that. Your words will your words are way more powerful than you know. You keep saying you're getting younger. Don't say you're getting older.
And younger.
Yes, you're getting younger. You're getting like Kanye, bigger, better, faster, stronger.
Younger.
That song?
Yeah, instead of the golden years, the younger years.
That's why Kanye's getting so much stuff right now. Kanye is really well connected. He has a higher consciousness. It is him and God. And if anybody else has a problem with it, then typically the ones that have a problem with it have a problem with it. You know, they're not going to understand. Kanye is out of their programming, and he's saying stuff, and people look at him like he's crazy and he needs help and blah 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 blah. If they really realized how, God dang, they're very programmed, and they got a long way to go when they're saying shit like that. I mean, you can own about Kanye. I mean, if any man is all about God and himself, whether he is or not, but he's doing a damn good job of proving it. For the most part, I got my eyes on him, just like I have my eyes on Elon Musk. I'm trying to make sure, you know what I mean?
Elon Musk, I know this number isn't correct, so y'all don't hold me to the fire on this, but best of my memory can recollect at this moment in time that we're doing this podcast, Elon Musk was mentioned this last year over 371,000 times in podcasts alone.
Is that not crazy, insane work with running all those businesses?
Yeah.
I mean, and you want to call him human?
Yeah.
See what I mean, people?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? We're all here for a purpose. And a lot of us don't know our purpose in the beginning. Kanye didn't know. He was an Illuminati piece of shit. But he's grown out of the Hollywood third dimension matrix bullshit because of what they did to him. And it's the same thing with Elon. You know, people, it's the same thing with Trump. It's the same thing with anybody all the way down to you and me, Mark. This Great Awakening is going to be one of the most specialist things, and it's going to be a transition on how Earth will be when we depart. And it sounds so deep, but you know what? If you've been hidden from it, it would sound so deep. But if you knew who we were, you would be like, God dang it, I'm with family. And that is the one thing that a lot of us need to understand. We're all connected. We're all family. And we are much powerful and greater than anything of this earth. Or we wouldn't have been created the way we did.
Yeah. It would be great just to have some honest answers, you know, from old Uncle Scam and his representatives. It would be great if just for once that they could just come clean, you know?
Well, don't worry about somebody else telling us. We have to hear it from within.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying it would kind of put, you know, and it's not that there's not hope, and I'm not saying I feel like dreadful with no hope or anything. I just feel like it's such a lost cause, man. It's so sad. It's like, come on, man. Don't you guys have any kind of conscience about what's right or wrong? And Man,
Nope.
do the right thing. Tell the truth for once. Just say it once. It's okay. You can tell the truth. It'll be all right. You know? It's insane, dude. It's like, and God, dude, I understand where your dad's coming from, because I thought, you know, when all things were said and done, I was like, well, at least I can watch the news and get a good laugh, right? For the next 4 years. And come to find out, I can't stand watching it either. And I can't even stand the stations that I resolve to watching to get news, because all they do is they light the fire too. They talk about it too, just a different perspective.
I get it.
There is no news. Let's hear some real news. This is news right here. Here's some news.
Yeah, news is outside of your program. News is not, oh, there was a car accident today on 410. The news is not telling you what Kim Kardashian is wearing at a goddamn celebrity party. News is not telling you what the politicians are doing, because they surely aren't telling you the truth there. News is not news. News is, yes, you're absolutely right, is taking that journey and finding alternative sources, taking and gathering information from all, and coming up with your own of what you truly feel is greater than what you've ever been taught. And yes, that sounds goddamn confusing, what I just said just there, but it's hard to put in words once you at least let something of this subject, like the Pleadians, just open a door. You can choose to walk through that door. And that's what all of this is about. The craziness will continue. Everything will continue. Our happiness is done within. God is within. Everything is within. And whenever you hear that voice that tells you or talks to you, that's a real damn voice. It's a real voice. So the hardest part is listening to that voice, because we fight with the flesh. That's a whole nother video, but I just wanted to tell you that
episode 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, man, map it out, dude. We'll have the whole year. I might just have to create a separate podcast for other things. But yeah, man. Yeah, it's good stuff, dude. It's good stuff, and it's, you know, it's not your typical. It's not what you typically are going to hear people talking about.
Well, it's outside, and it's just this simple. It's just outside of the programming, so it's so new. It's interesting, and people will get what they're all supposed to get, because they're on totally different levels, consciously, spiritually. But as long as you are doing that, you're waking people to that next step of learning who they really are. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, well, y'all be sure to go over to YouTube and look at Zero Brad. All together, Zero Brad. And follow him and give him some love. And, of course, in any descriptions that can be posted in, there will be links and all kinds of goodies for all of you boys and girls out there. And thank you for listening to this episode of Mark After Dark with special guest Bradley Bishop. Bradley, what would you like to tell the kind folks at home before we get out of here?
Yeehaw! That's what I want to tell them, Texas style, Mark.
There you go, baby. That's it. Yeehaw. Well, I appreciate you coming on, doing the show, and you know you're going to be back. So until then, my friend.
Much love, brother. You have a good evening.
Yes, sir.